Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Friday. How's it going here today? Hope you're having a good day. Good end of the week there. This is a quick stock market update show that we do just talk about the overall markets, what happened for the day, the good, the bad, and the ugly, try to give you some tips and things, and maybe show you some things maybe you never knew before. So hope you'll enjoy the show. We're also financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth. We manage your investments. We'll help you with all your other investments, help you get your dough straight along the way. We do weekly classes. Last night's class was really detailed about the 2 to 10 year spread. What does it mean? How does it work? What does it mean when we go inverted on the curve there? What does that result in? We looked at the prior recessions real quick, just cool graphics to be able to show you what happens and what you really should be looking for, or at least what the other mutual fund managers and everybody really look at when everybody else is focused on something else on TV there. So if you're one of our customers and you haven't had a chance to look at it, I would go check that one out. That one's probably more your speed, something that you want to at least keep track of. Worst case, you end up with some good coffee talk around the office there to let people know how things really work rather than how people want you to see things using stats, right? So I'm real big on statistics here, real big on data, sharing that data with you, and of course we'll do that. Speaking of data, we've got a winner. We're playing a game. It's called Guess the Dow. Bottom right-hand corner there of your screen, you can actually go to the website and guess the Dow, wherever you think it's going to close next week. It's a shortened week now, remember. So wherever you think it's going to close next week, just give me your best guess. Closest without going over, we'll send you a $100 gift card. If you're one of our customers, we'll credit your account if you like, or you can take the gift card. That's okay too. Not a marketing game of any kind or anything like that. And to show you that, Kevin Luong, he's our winner this week. Excuse me. Kevin guessed the Dow. 26400.7 was his guess, and he was the closest without going over there. So Kevin, congratulations. We'll be in contact with you to get your address to send you the gift card. If you were someone who took a guess or you want to take a guess, we won't email you, right? You just take your guess. It's over. No marketing or anything like that. Jeremy N., he's one of our customers here, keeps kind of in contact with me. You were the next closest. You're right there, man. So almost got it. But today's winner is not a customer. It's Kevin Luong. 264,400.7 was the guess there. So congratulations. You have until tomorrow also, if you're just thinking about playing, you have until tomorrow at about noon or 1 o'clock to go on that site there. Take your guess. Where do you think the Dow is going to close next week? And then after sometime tomorrow, it resets and goes out to the week after that. So you got some time to get your guess in for next week and see what happens there. All right, we got the markets mixed today. You got the Dow higher by 41. It was a choppy day. It was plus or minus. I mean, it had like a 200-point range today. So it's not that it wasn't active today. The Dow tried to get something done and just couldn't do it. Finished the day at least up a little bit. S&P added 1. We'll call that a flat day. It basically did nothing after the morning's action. And the NASDAQ lost 10, was pretty much down all day long there. Remember, the markets are closed next week. Monday, not all week. It just closed on Monday. So be a holiday day. We've got a 3-day weekend there. What are you going to do with yourself, huh? What, extra day there. Now, thankfully, down here in Florida, we'll have something to focus on because we've got a hurricane headed this way. So if the hurricane hits late Monday, early into Tuesday, and for some reason we don't have power or whatever, we'll be making other plans here so we can still help our customers as well. But we will not do the show if there's no power here in the studio, naturally, or if it happens to be really rainy and windy and unsafe. So just a heads up there. If you don't see us on Tuesday, you'll know why. Maybe I'll find a way to keep you guys posted. But that's that. Other than that, we're good to go. I mean, we shouldn't lose power here. We're everything is set up the way it should be. Anyways, let's take a look at the markets. Well, enough about us. Let's go over here to the charts. We'll pop this sucker up real quick. And you've got the S&P 500 on the charts. Remember yesterday we were saying, what are the odds that we break above these highs here? What would it take to break above the highs? Well, it's not just going to be because it's the end of the month and there's nothing going on. It's just a quiet Friday. We need a catalyst. The markets, like I said yesterday, it kind of feels like they're saying, go ahead, Trump. You like tweeting? Tweet something that helps us break above these highs. Let us know what's going on with the China trade news there. Apparently, it's they're having constructive conversations. That's what China said anyways. So it seems like it's feeling a little bit better from both sides there. But you know what a tweet can do. Look at last Friday. One tweet took the markets down 800 points off the highs if you look at the Dow. So the market's a little bit higher, at least to start the day, unable to get above those highs. And I don't really think like it's that big of a deal. You know, it's just we're going to sit and wait until we have that catalyst to get us above those highs. The NASDAQ looks very similar, sitting at those highs. Tried to get something done early today, but everybody said same thing. Why would I take risk on a Friday not knowing what's going to happen over this long weekend? And I don't have anything to go on. Nothing's changed. Everything is the same as it was. So you're not giving me any good reason to get excited here, to decide to really dive in, or for investors to really dive in there. And so that's what you have there. The Dow actually did poke above there just a little bit, but remember, this is a little bit sloppier in general. Still ended up closing the day just a few points higher. I guess that looks the best out of all of them, but still, nobody's convinced. It's not my opinion. That's just what you can see on the charts. Nobody's really convinced. Excuse me. If we look at the S&P 500, we'll go through a few names here just because it's kind of a lighter day news-wise. For the last 20 years now, the month of September in the S&P 500 has been down 10 of those 20 years. You have a 50-50 shot of September being positive if you look at just the month of September, right? So if we look back 20 years, you got a 50-50 shot of markets being, or S&P being positive. The average loss, by the way, is 1.07%, right? So if it is a down month, 1.07% we can handle, not all that big of a deal. For the S&P 500, for the month of August, since that's officially in the books here, we lost about 1% on the S&P. We lost about 0.5% on the Dow. That you could use the DIA if you'd like to look at that. On the NASDAQ, we lost 1.5%, and on the Russell, which was the worst performer out of the group, we lost minus 3.5%, right in that ballpark there. Now, not all bad news for the Russell, actually. This is the first week in the last 4 weeks that it's been able to close positive. For the last 4 weeks, the Russell has lost at least 1% or more. So we finally broke that streak. Is the Russell turning the corner here? It's way too early to tell, but it's nice to see these little wins along the way. You ever notice that with a stock? You know, you very rarely see a stock pull back and it's sort of nasty, and then bam, it takes off and continues and just has an amazing run. It's a series of little wins along the way, little setbacks, little wins, and then you get the real trend going. So maybe this is the start of a few little wins here. In the S&P 500, you got Ulta sticking out as pretty scary there, down 30% on the day. Ulta Beauty missed earnings by 4 cents. Revenue was basically where it should be. Store sales came in less than expected, and the company said, well, they lowered their profit forecast because of makeup sales, slowing makeup sales. What's going on there? Like, what? I don't follow that, so I don't know. Like, is makeup sales, is that like a seasonal thing? Will we pick back up in November when everybody wants to go look good for family and all that stuff? I don't know. But nonetheless, they basically just missed on earnings. Not good. They lowered their guidance going forward thanks to the cosmetic sales and all that great stuff. And because of that, do you think that's a little overdone? 30% to the downside? Maybe just a touch overdone there. So anyways, that's the biggest loser in the S&P 500 if you're playing along there. Lexion Pharmaceuticals, if you're in there looking at that one, officially erased all the news from Amgen deal there. And apparently they are, some of their patents are being called into question, so it's making the deal even tougher. This is why I don't mess with this stuff. It's a really hard area to invest in, to trade in, just real tough. Some of the other ones that were lower today were basically because of the price of oil. We'll cover that in a second, but Marathon Oil, Apache was in the news there, down about 2% on the day. So those were some of the weak ones there. On the upside, you got WDC, Western Digital. Kind of feels like it's trying to break out, huh? Western Digital sitting at these little highs right here, just ever so quietly, not really grabbing a lot of attention. Today was a good day, up 4%. Kind of has that hint that it's trying to break out, but who knows? We'll see. In the NASDAQ, you got JB Hunt continuing its little rally there. We talked about that all week long, so I really like when I get to show these. I'm not like trading them or telling you to trade them or anything. I just like for you guys to learn how to get a feel for things. When you can look at a stock and go, that sucker looks strong, or hey, that one looks weak. Where do you start to develop that? If you can develop that, then you just feel better about what's happening. You get that feel for the market. If you're an active trader, of course, you'll do something about it. If you are a long-term investor, it just helps you navigate the days. You're like, okay, I don't expect anything for a while because of where we're at. JB Hunt, okay, hey, I own the stock, or maybe you own the stock, and you're like, it looks like it's a little bit stronger there, and then when it does it, you're like, oh, sweet. It's a little bit stronger, right? So it just depends on what camp you land in there. But JB Hunt trucking along there. Workday, same comment to the downside. We've been talking about this one all week. You notice how everybody's given up on that one. Stop loss is triggering the other day. They had a small up day yesterday with the markets, and today with earnings helping it out just a little bit. Workday breaking the lows. That is a great, great example of how people give up on a stock after having some dead money for a while. So go back to Monday. We talked about how this bounced off support here and nothing really happened, how people have a clock in their head. So even if you're a day trader, you see a stock fall and then you think it's going to bounce at some area, you don't have to be right, but if it starts to bounce, you're cool, you'll hang back. If it bounces and then goes sideways, you go, oh, let's give it a second. Well, let's just see what happens, right? If it doesn't do anything for a while, eventually you get worried. Why isn't this bouncing? I thought it would bounce. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody's wrong. Maybe the stock's weaker than I thought. And so over time, your little internal alarm goes off and you go, that's it. If this thing starts to fall, I'm out. Imagine the masses doing the same thing. It just helps that Workday's earnings came out and it sort of earnings help convince everybody that they actually wanted to give up there. Anyways, let's go through the sectors here. You got bonds refused to give an inch today. Bonds basically just trucked along back and forth inside of a range. Just crazy there. The 10 to 2 year spread, it remains inverted, negative, however you want to say it. We covered that last night in the class. Again, just over and above. I promise you, I'm not teasing this. I'm not marketing me in any way. I'm just saying there is no advisor that actually covers that sort of thing for their customers. They do, but you have to be like a millionaire at Goldman Sachs. And then they send you these long, boring, stuffy forms. We get them all. I know exactly what they look like. That they try to show you how good they are, right? For the high net worth customers. I just want to teach you guys while you're smaller, right? You're just getting started, or you're just a smaller investor. Maybe you're older, but you're a smaller investor. I want to teach you guys so you can make the most out of what you have versus letting all that stuff be sort of held back for people that have more money. It's not fair, man. Not fair. We got to bring it to everybody. Anyways, check that class out there. We won't beat you up with bonds today. We did that last night. Semiconductors a little bit higher on the day. However, I'll keep the same comments. Just feels like this thing is holding, waiting for this trend line to catch up, or waiting to pull back towards that trend line. I think that's when you start seeing the real action there, if you do see any action there here in the short term. So a little patience there. Crude oil, I like following up with things that we talked about. Look, it's right there at that downtrend line. Whether you believe in technical analysis or not, you have to agree that that sucker is sitting right there trying to break out. People are responding to the resistance area, and for that reason, if you're holding oil or USO or any oil stocks, things like that, and you go, well, why aren't I seeing any action? The price of oil. The price of oil is giving you a hard time right there. If it breaks out, that's where everybody sort of feels like, all clear, I can go invest in oil, everything's good. If it doesn't and continues to struggle, you look towards the downside there, it could be sort of tricky to the downside. But nonetheless, you at least know your areas now. And so that's another thing. Whether you're a long-term investor or an active trader, you're either doing something about it or you're going, hey, that's pretty cool. I can see I'm not supposed to expect anything, but one of these days, maybe next Wednesday, well, now the report will come out on Thursday, but when the inventory numbers come out, maybe next Thursday, oh, maybe that's the reason why we break. And when you see it, you won't be emotional. You won't be caught off guard going, oh, should I sell it, right? Is this now a time to sell? You go, no, that's people getting excited. That's a new move starting there. Anyways, let's move on. You got retail lower by about 1% today. That pretty much ends a busy week for retail. Today you had Big Lots, Ulta, of course, we talked about. You had Groupon. Do you count them as retail? So you had a lot of names just wrapping up the end of what was a busy earnings week for them. And so retail basically just pulling back a little bit. Not really a big deal there overall. In general, still at least a little bit of a positive week, but what are you going to do? All right, let's take a look here. You got 44% of the S&P 500 above the 50-day moving average. That ends on a positive note. Remember, we've been ticking higher every day. We were at 43% yesterday. We had 44% today. 33 new 52-week highs today. 6 sectors represented. That carries over from yesterday, so still 6 sectors there. But unfortunately, almost all of those stocks that hit new 52-week highs, pulled back. The only ones that didn't pull back were your REIT stocks, PSA being one of them, happens to be one we own in our REIT fund here, and it's just really honestly on fire. I mean, not like we're stock pickers or anything, but happens to be doing well. And then equity residential also moving higher. Those were really the only ones that didn't pull back. I mean, you had like Campbell Soup, okay? They had earnings, new 52-week highs, but see what I mean? They all pulled back off of those highs. That's what I'm talking about right there, where they started higher and then they just pulled back. You got Ross Stores also hitting new 52-week highs and hinting at a breakout, right? Kind of hinting that it wanted to break out, but pulled back off of those highs. Sort of a false alarm, or hold on for a few days, wait and see what happens. So a lot of that in the 52-week highs. I don't mean to sound negative, but when you see that, you go, okay, that's great that we went up there, but we weren't able to hang on to it. It's not really a good sign overall. Well, some good news here. SWN has hit 52-week lows here just like over and over again. It was the only one to hit new 52-week lows today. So not bad, not bad, not bad. All right? No other 52-week lows on the day. All right, bonds. September, rather negative time for bonds here, which is good news if you're a market investor there. If we go back to last September, the TLT finished lower by 3%, rather nasty decline. That's for the month of September. The September before that, minus 2.52%. The September before that, minus 169%. The September before that, which is September 2015, is the only time that it finished positive, 1.75%. If you go back to 2014, you got minus 2.34%. What I want you to take away from that is, number one, September tends to be negative for bonds in general, but also it tends to be aggressively negative. I mean, you're not getting just like a 0.5% pullback. You're getting pretty decent pullbacks there. So heads up, right? 30% of the time over the last 10 years, it's been positive. So I showed you one of them, 2015 there. You can go back 2 others, and that's basically it. I'll go over a few things here, and then maybe we'll just wrap it up. Let's see if you have any questions. Give it a chance to see what, if you have questions, we'll take them. Campbell Soup reporting earnings. We already showed the chart of that one. It was a breakout. They beat by 8 cents. It wasn't like a stellar earnings report. It was just a little bit better than things had been in the past. That was what everybody was celebrating today. They didn't have amazing store sales, 2% growth of 2% in store sales. They didn't have amazing earnings. They didn't have, they only beat by 8 cents. They didn't have amazing revenue, but it was just a little bit better. Since they got that new CEO, you're seeing a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And that's what everybody's excited about. Everybody thinks, oh, Campbell Soup is back. All right, here we go. So that's why that stock had such an amazing sort of boost today. If you're paying attention to old Campbell Soup, they sold off some brands and things. So believe it or not, snacks were the best performing area of their business there. Big Lots beat on earnings by 13 cents. Revenue was better than expected. Same store sales were a little bit slower, so the stock sold off there. But they did say they were the CEO said he was confident that they will be able to successfully navigate the tariff-related headwinds. So they didn't choose to blame anything on tariffs there. Not too bad. Dell, do you remember Dell? Dell's actually a public company, recently come back public. And they beat on earnings. The China server space was their big beat, or reason for the beat there. Tesla, China says 16 Tesla models will be exempt from China's auto purchase tax. And Tesla decided to raise prices anyways. General Electric won a partial dismissal of the shareholder lawsuit from people that were saying they had that fraudulent accounting practice that the guy, the Bernie Madoff whistleblower guy, accused them of. He did, however, give the lawsuit participants the right to amend their lawsuit. So maybe just something in there that they're going to have to change. I don't pretend to understand that stuff. And Smith & Wesson, which is called American Outdoor Brands now, they missed on earnings by a penny. Revenue was less than expected, and they gave a weaker forward forecast there, so one of the weaker ones there. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't have a lot else to cover today. I won't waste your time. Let's see if you have any questions, and I will see what I can do for you here. Dr. Burry was yesterday. Yep. Trade deal is more about politics than anything. Trade, the only thing you're buying is gold and silver. Godspeed on that gold. I hope it stays higher for you. JB Hunt shipping containers. Yeah, they're killing it right now. Yep. You guys like your silver stocks, huh? Do the funds on the website show year-to-date? Yeah. Performance is all on a website for any of the funds. It goes individually. We're getting ready to change it, actually, to make it a little bit better. But, yep, absolutely do. Where is Dell? Well, so the question is, where is Dell going after their good earnings there? Those weren't good earnings. Those were really good earnings. So I would imagine you have a lot of people very positive on that stock. I think it was upgraded once or twice here. There's not a lot of coverage on this one if this is what I'm thinking of here. You got Dell, Morgan Stanley going to $57 a share for their price target. So you got some pretty Morgan Stanley 57 and Raymond James. This is the one. Raymond James goes to 62. Raymond James is really going for it there. So you got 57, 62 by some of the big names out there. It would appear that they're rather bullish on the stock. So it doesn't necessarily matter what I think. What are your thoughts on MLPs? Just depends on the account type you have them in. Yep. It can be a little bit tricky. But yeah, it just depends on how you're going to carry them. FedEx bought another company. Cool. 30% discount on Ulta. Yeah. Do you like discounts? It's funny when I always tease this, like the idea of the markets falling, but then when they do, it's kind of like, I don't know. Is that a discount or should I be scared? It's the same on stocks. The stock falls like that out of bed, just 30%. You go, oh, it's a discount, but that's kind of like if I fell out of a 30-story building, do I just get up and run back up the stairs to do it all over again? No, you lay there for a while, right? So that's a tough one. I would agree. I won't sit here and pretend like, discount, go after it. Patience. Probably need some patience on that one. Anyways, I'll thank you guys for watching here. If you're in Florida, be safe this week, especially if you're on the east coast of Florida there. Wish you well. We'll be here and hopefully be back on Tuesday. Remember, we're closed Monday. Markets are closed. We're closed. And, we'll hopefully be back on Tuesday. But again, if it's raining and it's all nasty and everything, we'll just do what we got to do here is to make sure we can, keep going for customers first. And then if I can be here with you guys, I will, of course. Enjoy your weekend. I hope where you're at is a beautiful weekend. Enjoy your long Labor Day weekend. And thanks for watching. We'll see you hopefully Tuesday.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new Fin Tips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.